Please join me in giving a warm welcome to the Senior Senator from the state of Connecticut, Mr. Christopher Dodd.
Thank you, Dean, very, very much, and let me thank all of you for the very generous and kind invitation to be with you this afternoon and to be back on this campus again. I was here many, many years ago. One of my brothers attended Avon Old Farms going back many years ago, so this is a bit of a homecoming to come back on this campus, as I was as a younger brother in those days, visiting him here when he was a student at Avon Old Farms. And what a magnificent campus this is, what a great tradition and heritage going back to 1927. And to pick up on the comments that Norma made about the vision of the founder, the architect, the neighbor who envisioned Avon Old Farms. And I couldn't help but think as well, Norma, how very much she would love being here today and witnessing what's going on here as a continuation of her sort of revolutionary ideas in the time when she was in many ways the author of this campus. So it is great to be back. I want to thank Ron French and Tyler and others for their work, obviously, in putting this together. Sebastian Silva is now my candidate for the next Secretary of Energy. He's done a great job here in talking about not only the accomplishments of putting these solar arrays on the hockey rink, but all the other things that are being done here to make this campus, this community, more energy efficient, more environmentally friendly, contributing. It may not seem like much that one campus on one school in one community in one state, but if we can just begin through this example to duplicate the efforts on a small scale, one place after another, we can make that kind of a difference. And it begins with events and determinations such as occurred here. I'm often asked, I've spoken at every public high school in Connecticut over the years, to juniors and seniors. I find it to be a worthwhile enterprise in communities to go and talk about anything the students are interested in. One of those common questions I get is the question about whether or not any one person can make a difference. We're a nation of 300 plus million people. The issues that we confound and confront are so complex, they almost defy solution in many cases. And so it's almost an understandable question. Can any one of us make it not much of a difference? And my answer has always been that they do. I think of people oftentimes like Lech Walesa made a difference, sort of the drum major of the events that occurred in changing the world with the collapse of the Soviet Union, beginning with one individual outside a plant gate in Gdansk, Poland. I think of Eunice Kennedy Shriver. When I was a high school student at a private school, a Jesuit-run school, they were neighbors. And I remember as a sophomore in high school looking out at my neighbors that had a small swimming pool in their backyard, and there was this woman in there with 5 or 6 people that she called the Special Olympics. These were mentally disadvantaged children, and only Eunice Kennedy Shriver could assume 6 people in the swimming pool with the Olympics. And yet, as a result of her efforts over the years in 120 countries, hundreds of thousands of people who've been neglected in the past, lives were changed because one woman decided to make a difference. Mothers Against Drunk Driving began in the basement of one woman's home who lost her child to a drunk driver. Mike Stradley is such an individual, one person making a difference on one campus to decide we're going to make a difference in our own way to reduce the carbon footprint, to conserve our energy, to contribute to the strength and betterment of all of us. And so to you, Janet, and your family, thank you immensely for Mike and what he did for this community by stepping up and meeting a guy like Ron and saying, I have an idea, let's see if we can't do something about it. Each and every one of you here as students, you may ask yourselves the same question. Now, you may never get to be a Eunice Kennedy Shriver or a Lech Walesa, but you can be a Mike Stradley. Every one of us can be that in our own way, to try and make a contribution to a sense of determination and purpose, such as you've done with this particular program. These are the efforts. It isn't just a question, of course, of clean energy and improving our health. Just imagine this, because of what you've done on this campus, I'm told anyway by Ron and others, that the savings financially to this campus is somewhere about $250,000 a year, and about 75% of the energy needs of Avon Old Farms will be met because of these solar panels. At least those are the numbers that I've been told will occur as a result of this investment. Every day, we spend over $1 billion to buy imported oil in our country from nations, frankly, in many cases, do not have our best interest at heart. So in addition to conserving our energy, contributing to our overall health and well-being. As a result of what you're doing here, you're making a difference, however small, in that effort to become energy independent, self-sufficient, and to set the example for others as well. So there's a lot to be proud of. And as you move on, as your academic careers here, and you leave Avon Old Farms and go on to whatever your endeavors may be, higher education or whatever, you can bring with you, as Tyler pointed out, this day, this event. You may forget who was here and what was said here today, I suspect you will. But I hope you will not forget what you've done here as students and as a part of a community that supported this effort. It may not be banner headlines someplace. It may not be a speech given somewhere, although I will tell you this, since I serve with 99 other people who are consistently trying to brag about their states, I'm going to brag on the floor of the Senate about Avon Old Farms and what you did on this campus. Here in sort of a serendipity sort of a way. I live in the town of East Haddam, Connecticut, along the Connecticut River. In fact, I live on the Connecticut River. I live in an old schoolhouse. I've been there for 30 years. It was the successor schoolhouse where Nathan Hale taught, for those of you who are not from Connecticut. And my next door neighbor is a wonderful man, he and his wife Susan, by the name of Bill Dowell. And Bill is a great friend of mine. We've become great friends over the last couple of years since he moved into the neighborhood. He owns the Rock Cats, by the way, that minor league ballpark in New Britain, Connecticut. But his nephew Rob works here. And they said, would you come to Avon Old Farms? And I said, well, sure, I'll come along. I didn't know what I was being invited for when the invitation occurred. But having done my homework over the last few days about the events that occurred here with the construction of these solar panels, I can't thank the Dowling family enough for extending the invitation. I had a chance to learn about this and what you've done here. And so I congratulate each and every one of you, every student here, every member of the faculty, the administration, and others who supported this contribution to our country. You've made a difference, and I thank you for inviting me to be with you.